first starting off, when you hear about certain stories or stories that you want to cover or people that you want to cover, you want to do it justice. You want to do them justice. Just and it's simple. We hear this all the time, but just to not give up, and keep pushing for whatever it is that your goal is, whatever that drives passion in you, whatever that that influences you to find what you're passionate about. Because I feel like if passion is what's driving you, then you're not going to fail.
Hello, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Midlife Revolution, the show for busy, empowered women ready to transform their lives. I'm your host, Coach Angie, and today we have another beautiful guest joining us, Ms. Brittani Moncrease. Brittani Moncrease is an Emmy-nominated journalist and a Southern Dallas County reporter for WFAA in Dallas. She is a proud native of Michigan and graduate of Howard University. HU, you know. She's also a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Her career has taken her to ABC 24 in Memphis and Spectrum News in New York, where she's had the opportunity to interview influential figures such as the incomparable Miss Opal Lee, the legendary Debbie Allen, and Detroit Pistons' own legend, Grant Hill. Her investigative reporting during the COVID-19 pandemic contributed to the compassionate release of a federal inmate. Brittani's passion for storytelling and joining her family in actively researching the history of Black medical schools and colleges in the U.S. has led her to cover impactful stories that drive change and connect communities, solidifying her as a voice for those in need and a champion of meaningful journalism. Wow, right? Welcome, Brittani. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. I love it, love it, love it. Emmy nominated, huh? Wonderful. I love it.
Thank you.
Oh,
It's been a journey to get there.
I'm sure. But, journeys are good. We got to take them to get to where we need to be. So I love it. To get to what God has for us, we have to take the journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's jump right in. Growing up in Michigan, and now working in Dallas as an Emmy-nominated journalist, what inspired your passion for storytelling and reporting?
Wow. So it's funny because when I was younger, my mom, she always called me a chatty Cathy. I just like to talk. And I was one of those kids that just always got to run my mouth, run my mouth, run my mouth. And so I don't know. I can talk about anything, everything. I didn't have just one interest. A lot of things, excite me. It could capture me and I'll be all in. And so for me, journalism was one of those fields where you could talk about anything. It didn't matter. Every day was different. And so that's what really drew me to that field. And it's funny because my sister always jokes with me. She's like, you get paid to be nosy. I mean, technically, yeah, you're right. But but I just enjoyed meeting people, connecting with people, and that's something that my mom had always instilled in us. Really, is just being out there in the community, giving back, and so you meet so many great people along the way. And to me, everybody has a story, and so if there's anything I can do to help share someone else's story, by all means, that's what I'm here for. And that's what I tell a lot of people when I'm out and I'm meeting people. I'm like, I'm here for you. Use me. I am your vessel. Anything that you need to get out or a message that you want to send, that's why I'm here. And so that's what drew me to journalism.
That's amazing. I love that story. A chatty Catty, huh?
Yep.
so, so your work has given you the opportunity to connect with incredible individuals that I named earlier, Miss Opal Lee, Debbie Allen, Grant Hill. Well, what have been some of the most impactful lessons you've learned from any one of them or all of them?
I would say the biggest thing that I've learned from them is, just, and it's simple. We hear this all the time, but just to not give up. and keep pushing for whatever it is that your goal is, whatever that drives passion in you, whatever that that influences you. And it helps to inspire others too. So a lot of times, being in journalism, you meet so many different people from different pathways, and the stories that we hear, the people that we connect with, sometimes it's kind of like a movie. Sometimes you're like, dang, that happened, or dang, you did this, and it just inspires you to just keep going, keep pushing. And a lot of people too, like I'm one of those journalists where I may meet someone and it's just not just a story for me. So I'm one of those people where I'm going to follow up when hey, I'm just checking in to see how you doing
I love
with
that.
X, Y, and Z. And I had one person who really, really stood out to me and really kind of, I guess, really put a drive in me that I knew I had a drive, but just pushed it even further. And she was much younger than I am. And I did a story on her like some years ago, but her story was just amazing. And she and I still keep in contact today. We may check up on each other. But her name was Brittany Fish, and she was kidnapped when she was 4 years old. And by the time I met her, she was 19, and she was just in a place where she was okay to talk about what happened to her. And even there talking to her, I'm like, just hearing your story inspires me. Like there's nothing that you can't do. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something. No matter what you go through in life, you're going to hit bad times. That's just, it's going to happen. It's natural. We all are going to experience it, but it's what you do with it and pushing through. And to see her, continue through life, reach her goals, and go even further. I tell her all the time that anytime that we talk, like your story inspires me. It continues to inspire me. So it's just meeting people like that really gives me the encouragement to keep doing what I'm doing and to strive even higher.
Wow. Yes. Oh, that was I love that. Yes, inspires you to go higher. And that's what we should be doing in life. We should never be stagnant, right? We need to go higher, higher in the things of God and what he wants us to do with our lives. That is what we're here for, right? Not to stay stagnant. And I love that you are reaching out still to her and just checking up, and that's so needed. And it's so, and I think for her it was just therapeutic to be able to share her story, because I'm sure it helps so many others.
Yeah, and talk about, God and God's timing, because I didn't know her, she didn't know me, and it just so happened that when we talked, she was in a place where she's like, "Yeah, actually, I just hit a spot where I'm ready to tell my story," and she started journaling about it, and here I come along and gave her the space really for her to share her story so others can see. And she even connected with other people who've gone through similar experiences as her. So just to see how she's flourishing, even despite having gone through what she went through. And I tell her, like, you're one of my heroes.
Yeah. Yeah. She's letting the world know you didn't break me. I'm still here. And I call it thriving, right? We're surviving and thriving at the same time.
I like
So,
that.
so investigative reporting, like your work during the COVID-19 pandemic, can have a profound impact. What challenges have you faced in covering such high stakes stories, and how did you navigate them?
Ooh, I mean, it is a challenge, because one is like the first starting off, when you hear about certain stories or stories that you want to cover or people that you want to cover, you want to do it justice. You want to do them justice. And so there's a lot of pressure already in just wanting to get their story right.
Right.
And making sure that you represent them in the light that they want. And that could be very stressful, because especially in journalism, not everybody's going to like what you cover. We don't even like sometimes all the stories that we cover, but we have to. We always say we're the eyes and the ears of the public, so we
Yeah.
have to cover. So it can be challenging, especially with stories like that. During COVID and the more investigative pieces, because there's a lot of information that you have to dig through, that you have to research, that you have to find. It's kind of like you become an expert on a particular topic for a certain amount of time. And there's this comic that shows a life of a journalist, and it's like, okay, well, today I'm an expert on this, and I'm an expert on this. So with investigative pieces, thank God that you get a little more time to really dig into and really uncover, because there's the story at the surface, but there's always something deeper.
Mhm.
And there's always a reason as to how we got here.
Mhm.
So, like during COVID, the story I did with the man who was incarcerated, he had been incarcerated, I believe, for about 19 years.
Mm.
And he was high risk health wise. And
Okay.
of course, during COVID, if you had served, I believe it was about, I want to say it was 80% of your sentence, or it was a majority of your sentence, then
Mhm.
you could be eligible for early release, pretty much. And he had been trying, wasn't getting anywhere with it. And somehow he got my number and we just started a conversation. And a lot of times I think that's something with journalists, because a lot of times, people, we can be quick to write others off,
Yeah.
and not pay attention. But as I said before,
Mhm.
everyone has a story.
Yeah.
So I'm just thankful that he trusted me to tell his story. And he, trusted me also just to respect the confidence level that had to come, or
Mhm.
that had to come with that, because certain things you couldn't say, you couldn't
Yeah.
show because it's
Mhm.
inside of a prison. And trust me with that information enough to, for me to dig into it, and giving me, some of
Mhm.
the context and resources too that he had to
Mhm.
share with me, to make sure and vet things out. And it's a long
Mhm.
process. And a lot of times it may look like, what you see on TV, that, oh,
Mhm.
you put the story up, but there's a lot of work that goes into it behind the scenes.
Mhm.
And sometimes people don't realize that as anchors, as reporters, we're doing a lot of that digging ourselves.
Mhm.
So we're not just jumping in front of the camera and talking. We're actually doing all the digging ourselves, all the research ourselves. So there's a lot that goes into it.
Mhm.
So one of the biggest challenges, again, I would say, is just having that trust. Sometimes it could be a lot of weight on you, because you just
Mhm.
want to do that person justice.
Yeah.
And so that's why, with my approach, I'm careful. I try to be careful, slow to respond. I listen, and it's been working out for me thus far. But I would say that's a big challenge. Is just having that pressure of just wanting to do good and wanting to do right by someone, because and the end, they are trusting you to tell their story. You haven't lived that experience, but they're
Yeah.
trusting you to convey that to others.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. And I just think, I believe that he saw your integrity. He saw who you were as a person, because, someone who's vulnerable like that would have to get, a vibe from you to be able to let you into their world in that way. So kudos to you on that, right?
Thank you.
So the media industry is is constantly evolving, right? We have social media, we have all these different things, all the things that we didn't have before, um, basically competing with the traditional way, right, of how you do things. How do you stay adaptable while maintaining your authentic voice in reporting?
Um, for me, and this is why I'm so grateful to be in the position that I'm in now, especially here in Dallas, as the Southern Dallas County reporter, is because I focus so much on community. And it's not just, for me, it goes beyond just reporting on what happens. The community that I cover is majority Black and brown. And so
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times you notice, and this is not just for Dallas, this is other cities as well. When you have a lot of like Black and brown communities, you'll notice in the media the way it's portrayed.
Yeah.
You hear a lot of crime stories, but we don't often hear about the good stories. And so I try to go past just the surface of the story that you see and that you're going to
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah.
What are the real stories? Who are the
Mhm.
people that's being impacted? What are their stories? So a lot of times, like in my spare time, I'll go to community meetings. I'll show up at those events. If a school is having a contest, if I'm able to get there, I'm going to go and watch, and I'm going to be there because I'm really invested in the community. And I think that's what makes um, different avenues of journalism stand out,
Mm-hmm.
especially too with local news. And I'm grateful for local news because I have that ability to be in the community, and be with them. So I'll get people that'll call me and ask me questions or text me, and I'm responding back to them. And it may have nothing to do with news at all, and we're
Right.
just having a conversation. Or hey, let's go and meet up for lunch, or let's do XYZ. And I think that makes a difference because people are able to really connect with you then, and they see, okay, well, she's not just out here just telling our stories, and she's not just reporting on bad things that happen, but she's
Right.
actually here in the community. And it also helps too that I live in the community that I cover.
Okay.
So a lot of
Amazing.
times, yeah. So I may go to a public safety meeting or a town hall meeting, and I'm there, yes, as a journalist, but I'm also there because I live down the street. So I'm
Right.
interested in knowing as well, if I hear somebody say, well, I saw this going on in my neighborhood. Yeah, I saw that too, so it helps me relate to people a lot more. I feel like when you show up, people trust you more.
Yeah.
People, they see that, hey, you're not distant to them. You're more so, you
Mhm.
just like us. We're
Yeah.
all the same. We in the same community. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So those
Yeah.
questions that you have, I have those same questions too.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of makes it a difference. And a lot of times you do have to be careful because with social media too, it gives you the opportunity where a lot of people can be journalists, and they could be journalists in different ways.
Mhm.
And that could be, complicated at times to vet out, okay, well, what's true, what's not. And sometimes mixed messages get in there. Sometimes opinions get in there. And so it's just something that's like consciously on my mind of, um, what's the best way I can tell someone's story, not put my own views in, not have my own opinion in, my own perspective in, but just tell their story. Let the facts speak for themselves. And then any emotions, let them convey that, not me.
Yeah. I love that. Girl, you got your stuff together. I love it. Love it. Love it. So now let's move on to what I love to talk about, which is mentorship. And as a woman in journalism, how important is mentorship and representation for the next generation of reporters, especially women of color?
Oh, mentorship is so important. I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for mentorship. A lot of the jobs that I've applied to, the jobs that I've gotten, have
Mm-hmm.
been because of mentors that literally have carried me on. Even my job here now, I'll be honest, at first, Dallas wasn't on my radar of places to go, but my
Mm-hmm.
mentor thought that this would be a good fit for me because she knew what I liked. She knew the passion I have for community and for telling stories of the community. And she's like, I really think this would be a good fit for you. You should check this out. And then I'm always going to my mentors like, hey, can you read my script? Can you check this first before I put this out?
Mm-hmm.
Mentorship is so important, and it's good to have someone who's been in those shoes prior to you. That way, any experience that you might have, any challenges that you might go through, you have somebody to lean on. And
Yeah.
so I lean on my mentors. I have no
Mhm.
shame in
Of
leaning on
course
my
not.
mentor.
Use
I
them
do, and
up. That's what they're there for.
that's what they're there for. And I have
Mhm.
mentors in different avenues of my life, not just work. I may have spiritual mentors,
Mhm.
mental health mentors,
Mhm.
physical health mentors.
Mhm.
I have different people that I will lean on and go to. And I always want to pay it forward.
Yeah.
So anyone that's coming along that, hey, I want some help in this. Okay, well, let's sit down, let's work through it. Let's look at it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for. And for me, it's like, it would be wrong of me
Mhm.
and a disservice of me not to help the next generation
Yeah.
coming up,
Yeah.
because that's how we move forward. And especially as a Black woman,
Mhm.
we have certain experiences that other women may not have.
Mhm.
And so to help someone else out and bring them along with me or help them excel them, what I really want is to excel them even further past where I did,
Yeah.
that just helps us as a whole, to
Mhm.
move forward.
Yes. I love it. Love it so much. It is so important for us to be mentored and to um, be the mentor.
Mhm,
So we
mhm.
need both sides of that, and I love that you have that going on in your life. And I, I just love to hear people say, "I love to get back," and express how important it is to do that because it really, really is. We want our younger women and women that are in our age groups, to understand that they can come to someone if someone wanted to do a career change and they saw you in your age group and say, "Listen, I'm." However old you are, we're not going to tell, but I'm in your age group and I'm looking for a career change, and
Mhm.
I can you mentor me in this? And rather
Yeah,
it being a competition, it's like, yeah, this is what you do. Let me know if you need any help. I'm here for you. And this is what we need in our community of women, period. We need that.
absolutely. And I'm a firm believer that what God has for you is for you. So I'm
Yes,
not worried about competing with anybody
exactly.
else. I'm not worried about you coming to take this or take that.
Yes,
That doesn't matter. If it's for me, it's for me. If it's not, it's not. And that's
that's
okay.
right. That's right. I love it. So, what advice would you give to aspiring journalists who want to break into the field but may feel discouraged by the challenges of the industry?
Ooh, that's a good question. Ooh, and because the field is changing so much.
Yes,
And
yes.
so my big advice would be to find what you're passionate about. Because I feel
Hmm.
like if passion is what's driving you, then you're not gonna fail. I mean, you may hit some hard
Hmm.
spots along the way, but you're not going to fail. That passion's going to keep kicking in and tell you, try it again.
Right.
This just happened. Well, try it again. So I think finding what it is that you're passionate about, because in all honesty, journalism is a wide field. Like you can do a lot in journalism. You could do photography. You could be an editor. You could be a producer, a writer, a producer, a reporter, anchor. There's so much that you can do in the field of journalism, and so many topics really that you can focus on, because you may have those who do economics, those who
Hmm.
do financial journalism, or whatever you have. For me, community,
Hmm.
investigative work. And so I would say find what it is that you're passionate about and really, really focus and hone in on that, because that's what's going to drive you, and that's ultimately what's going to make you successful. And that passion will come out in the work that you do, because you're going to want to put forth your best all the
Hmm.
time, because it's not only it's just a representation of you, but it's a representation of your work. It's what's going to carry you on long after we're gone. That work is still going to be there for the next generation and next
Absolutely.
generation. It's your legacy.
Hmm.
So find what it is that you're passionate about, and let that be your guide into journalism and what your focus is. And sometimes there's going to be people who they see you fit for a certain position or a certain, I don't know, form of journalism. And if that's not what you're into, don't settle. Keep going for the goal that you have.
Yeah. I love that advice. Don't settle. Keep going for your passion, no matter how old you are.
Hmm.
Keep going. God's got you. Now,
Absolutely.
with such a demanding career that we've all heard, how do you prioritize your mental, emotional? I'm sorry, I can't
No,
believe
you're
my
fine.
light just went out. Shout out to the YouTube people. Things happen, and I'm not
Things
stopping the
happen. It
recording.
happens. Oh yeah, it happens. That's technology for us.
It's technology for you. And it looks like, girl, my light got too hot.
It is totally fine. Sometimes it's been times when I had to use like little flashlights and from my phone and try to put that up and work around, and
Right. Can you see me at all?
yeah, I can see you.
Okay, well, we're gonna keep it moving with the darkness until the spin. We're gonna keep it moving. Now this is, and it's so crazy that it stopped at this point, because uh this is one of my top things to talk about, which is
Mhm.
work-life balance and your personal growth. And with such a demanding career, how do you prioritize your mental, emotional, and physical well-being?
Ooh, so one, I do therapy. So that that keeps me on track. I have my therapist. I do a therapy like with my own personal therapy, and then I do therapy with my husband. So since the time we've met and been together, we've been doing therapy,
Oh, I
because
love
we're
it.
both very passionate about our mental health and understand, the importance of mental health. And I meditate every morning. I'll take time where I'll just sit there in the bed. It takes me a while anyway to get up. Anyway, I got multiple alarms just because I'm not one of those people that just get right up. I got to sit there and I got to think. So
Mhm.
I'll sit there for about 30 minutes and I'm just there, just thinking and meditating.
Mhm.
I also work out. I love doing kickboxing. So a lot of times my routine is on my way to kickboxing, I won't listen to any music. It'll be silent. I may roll down the window just to hear natural sound. And that's my time to meditate, my time to pray. Um, and that's my whole meditation process. And by then, and after I do my workout, then I'm ready to start my day. And I'm like, okay, I'm good. I can go about the day. I can take it on. And then I also journal. So anything that I might be feeling or going thing. Look, and my light just went out.
Oh my goodness.
Let's see if I think I can. I don't know how. Let me see if I can reset this.
All I have to say is things happen and I'm not stopping.
I got this. Let me see. There we go. I don't know if that helps a little bit.
We're just gonna keep going, Britt, because you've said too many good things for
Trying to
me
see if
to.
maybe that'll help and get this light. It might have just been on for a while and
Yeah,
decided
you
to go
look.
out.
It's
Oh,
fine.
there it
It's
is.
fine. Okay, and you were fine without that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So, because mine might go out again.
This one might too.
But it's all good, YouTube. We keeping it moving. We're keeping it moving. So continue. Did you have more to say about your prioritizing? Because you really do well in the realm of self care, and I need my audience to see that you make sure you take the time out to prioritize you, which is absolutely the most important thing that you can do.
Yeah. And a lot of times too, and my husband will tell you, I'm not much of a planner. I'm
Mhm.
more of, hey, how do I feel today? This is what we're gonna do. Just live in the
Mhm.
moment. And
Mhm.
a lot of times living in the moment, um, I'm willing just to try different things, and if there's something that I haven't been to or hadn't done, okay, let's see what this is about. And
Mhm.
when and put the phone down, put the phone away, and really just enjoy that moment that you're in. And a lot of times when I come home, like I may put my phone to the side and I'm not paying attention to it because I'm in a whole different space now. And the
Mhm.
other thing that I do too that helps me out is I do a lot of puzzles.
Okay. I love that.
I love puzzles, and that keeps me calm. If there's anything that's bothering me,
Mhm.
or it's just a lot on my plate, puzzles will calm me. It gives me something to do, but then
Mhm.
also it's kind of like that brain exercise too
Yeah.
at the same time,
Mhm.
and it just relaxes me. And
Yeah.
it's just something. It's just what I like to do. It's not much, but it's my escape.
Yeah, it's therapeutic for you. And
Hmm.
we need to find those things that's therapeutic for us. That's a part of self-care. And I love that because of course in my work as a coach, fitness coach, I focus on empowering busy women to reclaim their health and wellness while balancing their career and family. And so prioritizing yourself can enhance not only your personal well-being but also your professional performance. And do you find that in your life because you make sure you find those escapes that it helps you to
Absolutely.
prioritize your well-being?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I had this story that I've been working on for a while now, and I needed to finish it this week. And one of the things that I did was I told myself, okay, I'm gonna fast today. So
Mhm.
I'm just gonna drink nothing but water. I'm not gonna eat anything until this script, is done. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna listen to whatever radio or station or whatever. We're gonna sit in silence until this is done,
Mhm.
as my way of just get my mind in the correct space,
Yeah.
to really
Yeah.
open it up for ideas to flow, for words to flow. Because
Yeah.
sometimes, I mean, writer's block is a real thing.
Yeah.
So I find, when I am, meditating or get myself in a space where I'm calm and I can open up to different ideas, work is better.
Yeah. I love it. And you've accomplished so much already from national interviews to investigative reporting that sparked real change. Talk to us about what's next for you in your career.
Ooh, that's
Mhm.
something, to be honest, I'm still trying to figure out what it is, what's next. Because sometimes it does change a lot.
Mhm.
But one thing that I am and that I'm passionate about is because I like telling stories and telling real stories and stories that bring about change. Um, I really like documentaries. And so
Mm.
I've thought about plenty of times of coming up with my own documentary that I would like to get out there and work on. And then I also thought about, of course, keeping in the realm of writing, but writing a book.
Mm.
And I battle with myself about that because one, procrastination is real. So I'll have all these ideas and I might even write them down, but just getting to the point to really execute.
Mhm.
That is something that I struggle with.
Okay.
But I do see that as something that I know would probably be um, in line of what would be next for me.
Okay. And so now I have to get nosy. What would your book be about?
Oh, I have different ideas.
Mm.
So Well, one that we've actually been working on is the one with I've been working on with my family about the history and legacy of Black medical schools and
Okay.
departments in the U.S.
Hmm.
That's something that we've been working to hopefully get a book out there published. We do have like a pamphlet that's out,
Okay.
but we want to do something that's longer, and really goes more into details about the different schools and when
Hmm.
they were open, why they closed, the ones that are still open. So that's one that I would like to uh, write a book about. And
Hmm.
then as far as documentaries, I would like to do a documentary on that as well. But then
Hmm.
also, I'm very much into family history. And
Okay.
so, yeah, so I would like to do something on my family just because I'm one of those people where, especially as a kid, like I
Mm.
was sitting there listening to all the older people talk and listen to all the
Mhm.
stories. And then sometimes, like when I'm with my brother and my sister, they're like, "How do you know that?" And I'm like, "Because I listened." And
Right.
so little stories. So when I hear stories now I start to write them down. So
Okay.
that way I don't forget. So I would
Mhm.
love to put something together. And I've actually been talking to another family member of mine, and we've been talking about just recently ways that we can tell our family story because she's also into media, film,
Mhm.
production. So we've been talking about different ways that we can tell our family stories and just bouncing ideas off of each other because that's one thing that especially as Black people, we don't
Mhm.
have those stories a lot
Yeah.
of times.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do, where if we're lucky enough we'll have those stories, but a lot of times we don't.
Mhm.
So I don't want it to be where my kids or my nephews and nieces, down the line, they're still wondering questions.
Yeah.
I don't want you to have to wonder because you can just
Yeah.
open it up and read it. So that's something else that I would, a project that I would love to work on and see come into fruition.
I think that's phenomenal. Maybe you can do that as a story for one of your reporting,
Hmm.
whatever the lingo is. Maybe you can do that with a family in Texas,
Hmm.
and then you can kind of build your story around what you do with that story. And that's
Yes.
just, listen, girl, don't listen to me. I don't know. I'm just
No,
saying.
that's a good idea, though. That's a really good idea.
Thank you. Okay. My final question for you, Brittany, is when you think about your legacy, what impact do you hope to leave on the industry and the communities you serve?
Ooh. Um, the legacy I would want to leave is one, to show what community reporting is, what
Mhm.
it does, what it can do. Um, and it's simple. Like I just want to bring about change.
Mhm.
Um, if there's an issue that's been going on for I don't know however long, and I'm able to report on it and something is fixed, that means everything to me. So
Mhm.
I feel good when I hear people say, you did such and such, you called and you checked on this, and now we got power back on this block, or we have this going on. To me, those are the things that matter to me, that
Mhm.
drive me, that keep me going. And you know, to me, that's like one for me. That's like one of the greatest legacies is to know that I've helped somebody else. Um, because it's not all about me. It's not all about um, like I don't care about the accolades and
Mhm.
all of that. I just really want to do good for others and
Mhm.
help others because I see it. Growing up in Michigan, you see a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's in your own family. You
Mhm.
see how certain things can impact, and you got friends that may be going through, certain things. You see how that impacts them. And it's if I can do something to help someone, I want to be able to do it. I'm not superwoman. I can't
Mhm.
help everybody.
Right.
But to me, it's like my little thing that I can do. I'm not a doctor. Doctors, saving lives. I'm not in law enforcement or a lawyer. But for me, journalism is that thing that I'm passionate about that I know
Mhm.
can bring about some kind of change, whether it's big change or small change. It brings some kind of change, and as long as it impacts somebody and helps someone else out, then I'm fine with
I
that.
can I cannot add not one thing to that. And with that, I want to thank you again for joining me. I am just so grateful to you for taking the time out of your busy schedule as a busy journalist to talk to little old me. So thank you again, Brittany.
And I thank you because you are one of the people that inspired me as well. Growing up, yes, yes. Y'all
Thank
don't
you.
understand. Like you, it's a group of y'all. Like growing up in church, we're
Mhm.
as the younger ones, we're looking to you all.
Yeah.
So I see the work that you do, and I'm like,
Mhm.
oh man, okay, let me do it. Like even though I'm not in Michigan, like
Yeah.
I'll follow the work that you're doing and the
Mhm.
coaching and
Mhm.
the videos, and I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, let me get up. Let me go. Let me get dive deep down inside, and so you have been an inspiration for me, and
Thank
I
you.
and that's why I appreciate too, growing up in the church is because there's so many people that had a hand in how I grew up,
Mhm.
why I'm here today, the things I got to do, even travel. Like I look back at in college, like me being able to travel, church family helped me with that.
Mhm.
So it's just I can never repay you all.
Oh, thank
So
you.
I thank you, and I thank you for
Mhm.
thinking of me
Of
to bring me onto
course.
the show.
Of
Yeah,
course. I mean, like you just said, we all grew up in that church together. And I am inspired by you and what, like when I found out what you did, I'm like, let's go, Brittany. That's amazing. I just love to see what you all are doing. And of course, I'm going to bring you in, like you said earlier, about us supporting each other and helping each other in whatever way we can. That's what I want to do. So, and that's what we're here for. I believe that. So you don't have to be superwoman because God has placed us all here, I believe, to be a help to people. And so, with all the billions of people on earth, there's no reason for us to have to be superwomen. We just need to do what we're going to do and what He's called us to do and let everybody do their part. And here we are, right?
yeah.
So, again, thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.